It's quite in the past. Zambia will be there with Avram Grant. There's a lot to talk about. Maybe not today, but we'll bring down the curtains, or rather, we'll open or pull up the curtains and start the discussions on the AFCON with the likes of Mutala Yakubu and Josiah Okokwe and Nana Edu. They'll be bringing you all the latest, the stadia, the players to watch out for, the coaches, even how much they're earning as far as bonuses are concerned. And that will be the big countdown before the tournament itself, coupled how they get to the venues, how they spend their duration at the African Cup of Nations. But let's come back home. It's the GPL, the Ghana Premier League. And over a few days, it's, talk has been obviously about the last round. And this coming up, this round coming up also promises to be very, very exciting. We'll take a look at what happened this past weekend. Josiah Okokwe is here, so too Nana Edu. And of course, let's take a look at the fixtures first, and then we'll hear from the two gentlemen. Those are the fixtures coming up. Week 15 already, and we'll be bringing you live Adriana versus Bichem United around this time on Friday. Mutala Yakubu will be in the hot seat to bring you that game. Following Saturday, a big one. The Phobians will try to restore some pride. They remain in the Ashanti region against Nations FC, but Nations also are looking very hot. It will be a tough game at Abran Kessie. Great Olympics entertain Asante Kotoko. They've opted for the Baba Yara Sports Stadium, Olidade. That's another big game. And if Olympics do their homework well, they may also get a huge crowd for that game on Sunday. 3 big games back-to-back. I mean, the top 6 teams in action on the first 3 days of the, match week 15. That is incredibly mouthwatering. And then we have Gold Stars taking on Samatex. If you remember, Gold Stars would be hosting Asante Kotoko in the FA Cup. We'll talk about briefly when we have time. Real Tamale United entertain Rekum Chelsea. Bofakwa Tano Bofakwa host Legon Cities. Accra Lions on Monday will wrap up week 15 fixtures when they host Nswatram. We know Accra Lions on their day, very difficult to beat. Will it be their day again on Monday? Heart of Lions yet to win their game against Bidiama, as that against Dreams versus Karela postponed because the two clubs have, other commitments, African Champions League, Confederation Cup. And in the case of Midiama, they played their FA Cup outstanding game 24 hours ago. They turned out victorious. So there's a lot happening as far as football is concerned. Dreams, of course, looking to win at home when they entertain their opponents next week at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium. A win for them will propel them up the table, and that could be positive. All right, so let's meet the two gentlemen, Nana Edu and Josiah Okokwe. Guys, have you recovered, or are you okay now after the epic game in Kumasi at Baba Yara almost a week ago?
Yeah, good afternoon. But then I don't think any Ghanaian or football lover, is yet to recover, especially looking at what we were treated to. Some good quality football on the day, the rivalry being renewed, quality players. And ever since, there's been so much talk. On Tuesday, we spoke about the fact that Ghanaians are calling for the inclusion of several players, from both teams to at least make the final squad for the 2023 AFCON, which is bound in Cote d'Ivoire in the next 29 days. So there's been a lot, I think, post the Super Clash. Yeah, there's been lots of talking points. I don't think we've even delved deeper into some of, these matters, especially with regards to the players and how good and how well they've been playing. Some of these players have been consistent. And, it's sad to notice that some, of these players only came to the limelight only when they played in the Super Clash. But then there's been 14 weeks of, very competitive games in the Ghana Premier League. But then, unfortunately, most of these people have not really watched these players play. We talk about the likes of Richmond Lamte, Salifu Ibrahim, who was so, superb on the day. Not just him. SCB is there, Isaac Opon, who was on a long injury layoff, but then is back with the bang. All these players are making a huge case. But then it's up to the Didi Dramani, who is the coach of the Galaxies, and also the head coach, Chris Hutton himself, to say we are going to include these players and we are going to make it, a project.
Yeah, it was a whole drama. The two sides really played their parts. Even before kickoff, Nana, all the shenanigans, all the, what's the word to use, side shows and trying to intimidate your opponents by some... whatever it is they try to do before kickoff, just to get inside the heads, the minds of their opponents, both Kotoko and Hearts?
Yes, yeah, that is Kotoko and Hearts. We're sure most situation, and most of the times, some of these things happen when Kotoko and Hearts is about to play a game in the Ghana Premier League or in the FA Cup or any competition. They are tense before the game, and that is one thing that Kotoko and Hearts, anytime they bring on board when they are about to meet in the Ghana Premier League. So I was not really surprised about what happened in Kumasi. But on the game, I think two teams in here show some quality football. That is one thing that is, good testimony of our league that is going on. At least we saw some key players in both Kotoko and Hearts. If they are called upon to represent Ghana in the Blasters, they can do well and make sure anytime your match might be beat about the Blasters team. Players like Richmond Lamte was one of the players people were talking about in Kumasi. Kelvin Osiesibe, one of the players people were talking about in Kumasi. And of course, someone like, Salifu Ibrahim Di Maria, one of the names people were talking about. Isaac Opon was in the super form, in the super class, involving House of Folk and Asante Kotoko Football Club. Nuruddin Mohammed, the central defender for Asante Kotoko Football Club, people were talking about him. So it was one of the best games in the last 10 years involving Kotoko and Hearts in the Ghana Premier League.
I mean, Josiah, what made it so sweet was the open play. Both sides decided to attack. Both sides kept the ball on the pitch. Good passing movement, errors, mistakes, controversies, tears of joy. Not just the goalkeeper. Supporters were in tears after the game.
Yeah. We know, the magnitude of this game. It's a game that whenever it's been played, it's sent, signal, shockwaves to some parts of not just the country, but in the continent as well, because we have supporters, or these, two teams have supporters scattered all over, Africa and also the world in general. And like you said, I think the display on the day, the quality of football is enough to convince fans of both sides that, see, where they are currently on the table is not a true reflection of their season, because they are playing some good football. You remember when Martin Cooper was in charge and the club had to part ways with him because they were not scoring goals, but not because they were not performing well. And, same as Kotoko, who have actually found their form at the right time, and down the stretch, they are playing some good football and also getting the results. So it's the standard of football, the quality, of display on the day. That was actually what, left everyone awestruck. And people are saying that, see, this is a quality game. These are the two teams, or these are the two giants in our league, and they didn't feel to disappoint Yaw on the day. I believe everyone who watched the game, even if you found yourself on the losing side, at least you went home with some positive, something to cheer about.
5 goals scored in the end. It could have been 10 if you want to be honest. The chances Hearts of Oak created in the first half, if they had converted, they could have been leading at least 3-0 before Kotoko scored their goal. Kotoko also created chances, especially in the second half. Mukwala could have had a hat-trick or more easily. Second half, late chances. The crowd loved it. They will not complain. And this is hopefully the song that we're going to be singing, not just for Hearts Kotoko, but Olympics Kotoko is coming up this weekend as well. Hearts stay in Kumasi. They play Nations at Abrankesi. So hopefully this weekend they'll continue.
I think in recent times, Ghana football is all about Kumasi. The best games have been played there. The Blasters, Kotoko and Hearts, and now Olympics has joined. The interclub competition. It's because of the recent situation of our stadium. Not the best,
Why don't we spread it out?
Deny the people in Accra from watching games like this, and the year and the review.
I don't think anybody's denying. I think maybe say your homework so that it cuts across. I mean, imagine if we have that kind of vibe in Accra, Cape Coast, wherever.
You'd say yes. I'd say to some extent, the inhabitants of Accra or the Greater Accra region have been denied, especially when you have to delve deeper and talk about the NSC and what needs to be done for at least the Black Stars to get a chance to play. Because the last time the Black Stars played at the Accra Sports Stadium was when they played in that friendly against Liberia. So you could say yes, they've been denied, because what is missing? This used to be the Nations Wembley.
Played the competition.
Yes, this is the Nations Wembley we are talking about.
This
is the Nations Wembley. No, so it's not good, because at least those in Tamale should at least for once feel the Black Stars. At least in the year, at least let them feel them for once.
But
those in second D.
If the Black Stars feel at home in Kumasi, if even Hearts of Oak feel at home in Kumasi because they were very confident. Oh, Kumasi is our home.
Oh, that's the talk. They've lost over there. They've lost a couple of times over there.
Yeah, but they felt comfortable at Kotoko's home.
And
now Olympics feel at home in Kumasi. There's a problem.
Yeah, there's more to these teams, feeling at home over there. Because one, you look at the commercial aspect and they make enough whenever they visit the Barbara Sports Stadium. And Hearts of Oak, I believe, that was one of the reasons why they chose to play at the Barbara Sports Stadium instead of their alternative venue, which is the Cape Coast Stadium. They felt like, see, we don't have enough fans. At least, comparatively, we have a lot of fans in Kumasi than in Cape Coast. And it will be easier to have those fans, and some fans traveling from Accra to Kumasi to come and watch the game than take the game to Cape Coast, where you wouldn't have, I think, that same number. So, there are a lot of factors.
You can catch up with these guys on Sports Pack on Max 89.7 FM tomorrow. And yes, let's come back. Kotoko are playing Bibiani Gold Stars, their next game. That's in the FA Cup. But Hearts have to bounce back against Nations on Saturday. Can they do that against a resurgent Nations team?
It's a big game against Nations FC. Also in recent times, the kind of former Nations FC has picked in the Ghana Premier League, beating big teams in the Ghana Premier League. One of the big games that they played was during the weekend, last week, the game against Aduana Stars. At that time, Aduana Stars was the league leaders in the Ghana Premier League. For you to beat them, have a convincing win against them at the Dr. Kwame Chase Sports Complex, it means you've announced yourself in the Ghana Premier League. Say, to the idea you can do something for yourself in the Ghana Premier League.
People say mental toughness. We've underestimated Nations because at a point, they just couldn't pick the points. They just couldn't win home or away. But they've bounced back, not just bouncing back. See, some teams, home and away, to make up a dance park, be any Echo Shomo. Come back, the league leaders, Aduana Stars, beat them, and quite convincingly at a point, normally 2 goals to 0. And they could have had more.
Yeah, he has to lose a game in Dr. Kwame Chase Sports Complex. He had a draw against Legon Cities. The rest of the games, they've been able to pick the maximum 3 points at home, apart from the Legon City game and, of course, the game against Asante Kotoko. That is a game that ended 1-1 and 2-2, respectively. So it tells you, Nations FC, when they are playing at home, so if you want to beat them, you need to work beyond what you are doing in the Ghana Premier League to get a result against Nations FC Football Club. And looking at their back four, especially that central defender playing for
Razak.
Razak, quality player in the team doing well, and player like Prince Aqua, one of the key players in the Nations FC team who is gathering that midfielders to play quality football in the Ghana Premier League. So, also with team now, there is maturity and some few players who are tasting Ghana Premier League for a very long time. It's helping the Nations FC team. So, after beating the Aduana Stars Football Club, I've had a different thought about Nations FC. I'm now thinking about how they can manage themselves to be at where they are after the first round. So, what should I say? Newly promoted side into in the Ghana Premier League, where what they are doing, they can do a lot of things in the Premier League.
Yeah, I said, and yet just the scoreline, but performance. They play very good attacking football, and Oshes this record. I think it's probably the best in the Ghana Premier League currently. They're in the informed team, and they've just share opponents on my show. They are not small boys, they're not minnows at all, and it's been pretty tough. On my show, just 1-0, which means their defense has also been very, very strong. 1-1, 1-1, and on share Aduana 2-1. Lapse of concentration. They conceded that late, goal, but they still held on to win by 2-1. Don't forget, Kotoko couldn't score them there. So Hearts of Oak would have to break that record and go there and win.
It's going to be a tall order. It's going to be a stern test for Accra Hearts of Oak. And you can see their last 5 games at home. Yeah, the only games they've conceded is that 2-2 draw against Kumasi Asante Kotoko. And also their most recent game when they won 2-1 against Aduana. They don't concede lots of goals at home. The only sides to have scored at the Dr. Kwame Chase Sports Complex is, I think, Legon Cities. They scored 1 over there. Kumasi Asante Kotoko scored twice, and also Aduana Stars in their recent game. They've played 7 games over there, and yeah, their worst result over there has been a draw. So that's how difficult it could be for Accra Hearts of Oak going to Abrankese. And see, they know the terrain. They understand, and they feel comfortable when they are playing at home. And yes, that's the norm. But we've seen teams drop points at home. We've seen teams lose at home this season. Hearts have lost a couple of games at home. Kotoko themselves have also lost a couple of games at home. So see, for these teams to be playing at home and not lose a single game, yeah, I think we need to give them some credit. And talk about their defensive shape and quality, I think that goes on to buttress, why Razak Simpson has his name amongst the nominees for Player of the Month for November. He's playing some good football. He won 2 Player Man of the Match awards in the month of November, and he scored a goal. So that's how good, he's been. He's been a real leader for them at the back.
And has to focus not winning in Dr. Kwame Sports Complex. They are not winning that game. They will not win on Saturday. Nations FC is playing good football, and they are a major problem in the House of Oak team. In terms of coaching, you can't compare TJ to Cassie Mengel, one of the experienced coaches in the Ghana Premier League. He has been consistent in the last 4 years in the Ghana Premier League, from Bechem United, now coaching Nations FC. And when you look at on paper, Cassie Mengel is doing a great job for Nations FC after their first 2 games and a game against Asante Kotoko, winning consistently in the Ghana Premier League. House of Folk are struggling. Against Kotoko, problems in their team. And that thing will work against them when they face Nations FC at the Kwame Sports Complex. So I don't see the House of Folk team winning on Saturday against them. Their best result in that game will be a draw. I tip Nations FC to pick the match one win. Looking at the way and manner they are scoring goals, especially when they are playing at home. When you look at the matches that came on the screen, most of these games, apart from the 2 games that they played, that they score only 1 goal in the game, the rest they score more than 1 goal. It tells you it's a free scoring side. They can score from all angles. And where they find themselves in the first round of the Ghana Premier League, they would like to maintain that standard. And I don't think this current House of Folk team will break that thing. That is why I was having problem with the House of Folk management. After playing against Asante Kotoko Football Club, the team came back to Accra. And they will move to Kumasi either today or tomorrow to play their game against Nations FC. Once you know you are playing the rest of your games in Kumasi, you should find a way to stay in Kumasi and play your games. So that adaptation will not be a problem for the House of Folk team.
Maybe they've considered all of these and they've decided the best for them is to come back to Accra and then go back to Kumasi.
I think it's all about money. They think, being in Kumasi for more than 2 weeks, accommodation situation, feeding, you will spend on all these players. But when they come back to Accra, they will stay in their various homes and go to training.
Modern football club there, you can't run away from these.
So these are
operations there, maybe no money choice. But I doubt a big club like Hearts of Oak cannot sacrifice and stay
for this short period. Yeah. I think it's one of the reasons why. Because when we look at the press conference that was held this week at Accra Sports Stadium, when Herman Hesse was addressing the public, these are some of the issues we were talking about. And for them to move from Kumasi, they even wanted to come on Sunday after the game, but they came on Monday, preparing in Accra, and they'll move to Nations FC on Saturday. It's a big blow for House of Folk football, but sorry for the supporters. I don't think House of Folk will win that game on Saturday.
But Jose, before we go to Olympics, Kotoko, very briefly, quick one. There were a lot of positives for Hearts of Oak. I got more converted our chances now. It could have been a different story, very briefly.
Yeah, that's the story of football.
And yet all gloom. I'm just hearing negative.
That's what I'm saying. See, after the game, if you follow keenly, you wouldn't see Hearts of Oak fans bashing, or ranting and all that, just using words that are not even good. Like some time back, we've heard them, use it. It's because they've seen some qualities and they understand that sometimes football can be very, very, odd with regards to results and performances. If you are trying to juxtapose the two, they've had some decent games, even against Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Yeah, they played very well. And at some point, you could feel the tension amongst the Kotoko faithfuls. They felt like, maybe today could be one of the days we also lose to our arbitrary rivals on our home grounds. Yeah, it happens. But then the Hearts fans looked or watched the game, especially for those who haven't really followed the team keenly in the first 13 games of the season. They watched this game and they felt like, the team isn't as bad as we think it is. Because sometimes you be home and you hear the results. Oh, Hearts have lost. But then you were not there to witness the team play and see how good they are playing. And that's why the team are still stuck with Tijani, because they feel, there's a man who has learned under Koopman. They feel maybe let's give him some time, a couple of games, maybe for him to try and show what he can do. So it's not all gloomy, like you said. It's not all dark for them. So there are still some positives. Yeah.
All right, but don't forget, another big one is coming. Great Olympics. They've adopted Baba Yara as their home ground. They may have learnt lessons from Hearts hosting Kotoko there. Great Olympics now will be hosting Asante Kotoko, as you can see there, our televised game on Sunday afternoon. So it will be a very interesting one to see if Kotoko can keep the momentum. Another question people are asking is that, yes, Kotoko played out of their skins because a Hearts of Oak. Can they do the same against Olympics? Can they raise that level, that tempo, and perhaps get something from this game? And this is the last time the two sides met. You know, it's going to be a difficult one for Asante Kotoko and obviously a difficult one for Olympics.
Yeah, when you look at the current form of Asante Kotoko, especially Baba Yara Sports Stadium, I don't see any team in the Ghana Premier League now beating Asante Kotoko in Kumasi. When you look at their current form and the kind of football they are playing, especially at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium, I don't see any team in the Ghana Premier League beating Asante Kotoko currently. Should
the Olympics have maintained Sugakope as we see in this shot? Their last game against Kotoko was played in Sugakope.
No, there are some things that work for teams that adopt the Baba Yara Sports Stadium as their home venue. One is because out of the games that they will play in the Ghana Premier League, Emubako is against Asante Kotoko. So over against Kotoko, obviously, you have the fans behind you. That is one. Number two, we have powerful sports shows in Kumasi, much more than any other city in Ghana. So the people close to Asante Kotoko are close to their media houses like the other cities in Ghana. So anytime you bring something to Kumasi, there are a lot of fans making sure the troops supporting your team. So once there is Kotoko involved, most of these teams will like to play their games in Kumasi. That is one factor.
I said, sports shoes are more dedicated to Kotoko.
Yes, most of them, they are in Kumasi. It's not compared to that, maybe you are in Accra, like I said, most of these sports shoes are more dedicated to what the Yamaha folk.
I didn't say.
Kumasi situation is different.
Why?
Because, you know, how quite fast when you Kumasi crew, that is how it is. The fans, the journalists, the supporters are closer to the team much more than people in Accra, people in Cape Coast, people in Takoradi, compared to how they are close to their teams. So that is different from Kumasi and the rest of the cities in Accra. That is why most of these things work when you take your home venue to Kumasi. So these are two key things that is helping teams who are playing their games in Kumasi. So I think once there is Kotoko involved, Olympics is good to play their games in Kumasi. But I think they'll get their money, they'll get their support, but the maximum to the point will go to Kotoko.
I mean, we're taking the most recent workout. This is recent from Asante Kotoko's training. Yeah, and how's that project going? We'll bring you news on that. But these players were very instrumental in the game against Hearts of Oak. They're preparing for the Olympics game upon Lamte. The topic of Lamte. Yeah, Aqua is picking up. He's a young start. This is his first, full season.
From Park Academy.
But the talk of Lamte has not subsided at all. Same with Oseasibi.
I think it's because of what we need in the Blasters. When we look at the Blaster currently, there were a lot of Namasis. I can mention about 4 different types of Namasis in the Blasters team. Thomas Patti, Edmond Ado, Abdul Saleh Samed, and of course, Idris Ubaba. They are all Namasis. We have only one number 8 in the current Blasters team. That is Majid Ashmero. We used to have Daniel Kofichire who was supporting, but Kofichire is injured. So Richmond Lamte, the role in the Blasters. That is why people are calling for him in the Blasters team. That is what we need now. That is why I think he should be one of the local players we need to consider for the next AFCON.
Yeah, give us an update on that, Josiah. I know you were doing some work on it with regards to the Black Stars call-up. 50, we're hearing, provisional squad?
Yeah, 50, final day today. And definitely that's when it's going to be sieved till you arrive at your the limit, which is 27. And, I think Ghanaians' interest has to be with the number of local players, that could be included in the list going to the AFCON. Because if you have 27, that's quite a huge list. Back then, it used to be 23. Now it's been increased by 4 more spots.
Now, so GPL players and our GPL representation, AF5, I say it's okay.
No, it's fair. No, it's fair. 5, it's fair, especially if you're going with at least a player in every department. 1 striker or 1 attacker, 1 midfielder, 1 defender, at least 1 goalkeeper. See, it's fair. No one can argue. And I don't see many people raising eyebrows if, the coach says, see, I'm giving 5 slots to the local league because now there's so much quality, especially after the kind of football these two teams showed or showcased on the day.
The argument also is it because of the Hearts of Oak Kotoko match, or consistently have these two players or other players who are being called, have they been consistent?
Yeah.
If
If you listen to those advocating for the inclusion of these players, it's because they follow the league. I've followed the league. You know, I've been in commentary position. I've interviewed some of these players. I've watched them play, you know, up close, and I know the quality. So usually for some of these, you know, viewers and fans, normally they don't even follow the team.
So I say, Sunday was an eye opener for a lot of people.
Exactly. So it was that game that made them understand that, see, these players are quality players. They don't really follow
that. But the question is, have they been consistent throughout the season so far?
Well, some of these players, but what I'm hearing from the Football Association, I understand there is 3 players from Mediama, 1 player from Dreams FC, and 1 player from Asante Kotoko, making it 5 players from the local scene. Right. That is what I'm hearing. I'm yet to confirm the names of the players, but that is what I'm hearing. 3 players from Mediama, 1 player from Dreams FC, and 1 player for Asante Kotoko.
For Dreams and Mediama, no problems at all. I mean, they've got quality. We've seen that beyond the Ghana Premier League on a regular basis as well. I know I'm wondering which of those players from Dreams, a couple of them, would easily qualify.
That is right. I'm yet to confirm the names, but I know it's likely to be, you know, that central defender from Mediama.
Nuruddin Abdullah.
And of course, Fatah Hamidu.
And Fatah
and Jonathan Sowa. And it's likely to be John Entry from Dreams FC. And of course, Rachel Lante from Asante Kotoko. That is what people are talking about, that the 5 names will be. But per the report that I'm hearing from a lot of people, that is the 5 players from the local scene who are likely to make the Black Stars.
They're okay, but you made an argument that with Richmond lumped here, no, more, what's the word to use? Easier to understand because you hear number 8 in that position who can be playing, you know, at that level. But with the others, why not? Who are you coming to replace? Which position? Which names? And on that speculation. Mediama too, you can see that.
No, it's not a new at left back it wouldn't be bad because we still have, you know, some problems that need sorting at the left back position. So Hamidou, I think with his inclusion, people are not really, you know, I don't know, questioning why he should be included, despite the fact that he's not played for Mediama throughout their Champions League campaign because he's injured. And I don't know if they are trying to play safe and not, you know, rush him back because they know there's a bigger task. That's the AFCON coming up. Nuruddin, yes, you can make a case, but then also Hearts of Folk fans will start raising eyebrows. Why is SCB not in the starting 11 or no part of the team or the call-up? That's the questions they are going to ask. But then you go up from the out. Another thing has to do with the physicality of the African game, the AFCON. We've seen some of our strikers, you know, come and struggle because physically, they are not that, you know, dominant, if I should put it. So you have players. And, you know, one thing that Ghanaians loved so much about Jonathan Sowa was the fact that when he came on to make his debut, you could see that energy. You know, that is the typical player you need for the African game. And that's why Semenyo, to some extent, you say, you know, plays well whenever he's been selected or gets some game time because he's that physical type. He's the bully type. And that's what African football is about. If you are not a speedster, if you are not a very, very pacey, you know, quick player with so much trickery, you need to be tough. You need to be bulky. You need to be that, you know, very, very robust type. If not, the game could end up, you know, consuming you and also, you know, bringing out your weaknesses. So I believe in that department, John Entry has the experience. He's taught the whole of North Africa. He has rich experience. Jonathan Sowa also is a different player. You know, he's been molded in a different, you know, as a different type of player, if I should put it. So all these players individually have got their individual qualities. But then you look at the strikers that are playing regularly for the Black Stars. Jordan Ayew is not an out-and-out striker when he plays for Crystal Palace. You have Inaki Williams, who is also, in recent times, you know, attacking from the left-hand side of the field. So he's not playing as a number 9 for Athletic Bilbao. Semenyo is also not playing as a striker for Bournemouth. So it's only Jonathan Sowa. And if the name Nanedu mentioned is right, John Entry, who play as natural number 9s for their clubs. So that is one thing we also need to look at. Yeah,
as backup. And as you're saying, we're in a group with Cape Verde, Mozambique, Egypt. Yeah. You need to mix things around.
You need to have
and most of the times, one mistake most people do is you don't just call a player. You look at where there is a vacancy in the Black Stars and you call a player for that particular position.
Who's consistent.
Who is consistent. Yeah. And when you look at the Black Stars team, in recent times, our left back have been Baba Rahman, Gideon Mensah. So it means that particular position, we will need an additional player. That is why Fatah Hamidu has been consistent in the local scene.
Why?
Fatah Hamidu, the left back for Mediama Football Club. And what I'm even hearing from Mediama, it's not because he's injured. It's because they've gotten the hint that he's likely to go to the AFCON. So the player is reluctant in playing 100% big games for the media.
And also a new.
Sometimes in the local, some of these things work.
Yeah, but it's not.
So most of these coaches offer results. You like to bend that player
psychologically and for football discipline, and yet every match. But because you see, if you
even increases your chances of
right.
nailing a spot for yourself.
So if today Chris Hughton calls Nanedu, Josiah, your 5 local players, and their positions, why not over from?
Like as a journalist. I'll look at the team.
Based on the Ghana Premier League, what you followed, your analysis.
My 5 players.
Positions,
my 5 players, I'll bring John Entry.
Okay, Dreams.
I'll bring Jonathan Soa.
Yep.
I'll bring Richmond Lamptey. I'll bring Kelvin Osei-Sibe. And I'll add Felix Chey.
Okay. So why explain Richmond Lamptey did that? You gave that balance. In a way, Osei-Sibe, Oba, who would he start? Would he come on to support and a backup?
You know, you have to compete. I know it's very difficult because the central defense is one area you have a lot of players playing well when it comes to football.
Oba starts here as
moment is doing well for Real Vallecano. Mohamed Salisu is fully fit for AS Monaco. Daniel Amate played last weekend for Besiktas. Alexander Djiku is doing well for Fenerbahce. And of course, Kasim Adams, the last time he was called from TSG Hoffenheim, he also doing well when it comes to his club side. So in the central defense area, there's a lot of competition. But I think we need to get one local central defender to give them that needed competition. The last time we did well at the AFCON was the 2010 Angola tournament when we took Liade, who was then playing for Brecum Chelsea.
He did very well.
He gave a needed competition to John Mensah and, of course, Isaac Vosa in the heart of the central defense.
And those times, those players were at their peak.
Were at their peak.
Yeah.
Look at our team in the 2006 World Cup. We took Sela Iliasu, who then had moved from King Faisal to Asante Kotoko.
And
he gave Sami Kufuor and John Mensah that needed competition in the central defense. Adokwe Papo, Habib Mohamed gave him that competition. He was playing for King Faisal. So sometimes, when you look at our back four, you will need 1 or 2 local players who are workaholic, who can pick any area boss to compete those foreign players within the Blasters.
I'm sure you guys at home also listening to his analysis, and he's making sense on 1 or 2, and I'm sure it will not change until the list is confirmed. Hopefully we'll get William Barker in. He's the CEO of Kempon Academy, if there's enough time. But we've got, let's get through these predictions, and then quickly, very quick, like 5 seconds each, Yanko.
Indiana Stars Bechem United. I think is a 4-time win for Indiana Stars. A slim win for them. And of course,
Nations also playing at home against Accra Hearts of Oak. They are playing some good football, but then Accra Hearts of Oak, they are good away from home. I'll go for a draw.
Great Olympics against Asante Kotoko Football Club. Asante Kotoko straight win.
Samatex haven't been good away from home. Gold Stars are struggling, but that should be Frimpong Mansell's first home win.
Out to you against Brecum Chelsea. A win or draw for Brecum Chelsea in an away game.
Tano Bofakwa. I see them picking maximum points in this one against Legon Cities.
Accra Lions against Nswatremai at the Sugar Kope. Away win for Nswatremai.
Yeah, those other games have been postponed. So,
but I don't know. But House of Lions, Mediama, Karela Dreams. This weekend, these 2 teams in the interclub competition are not playing in Africa. I don't know the reason why they are not playing their Premier League games. They will play the next Africa game
Wednesday,
next weekend.
Next week.
So I don't know the reason why they are not playing.
Preparation,
but to help boost their preparation
playing on a Friday or Saturday.
They are big games. They'll be traveling, So let's go for a quick break. Back. I will try and activate the phone lines early. And as I said, we have the football ecosystem from the calls to the juvenile and up and all the rest of it. We have one gentleman from the Kempon Academy. We'll get a few words from him as well. And then we'll activate the phone lines so you can also join in the discussion.
GPL headquarters.
It's like you win.
The best in online games is here. Lucky Win Ghana. If we say Sika Wofia and Nije Wofia this year, dear, it's your chance to chop big. So play any of our games such as Super Spin, Cash spin, classic roulette, penalty shootout, slot 777, crash games, and more at www.luckywin.com.gh. With a minimum of 1 Ghana cedis, you stand a chance to win instant cash prizes up to 1 million Ghana cedis on your phone. Plus, you can withdraw your cash prizes at any time of the day. So hurry now, because Mr. Money no dey waste time. Lucky Win, play with less, chance to win big. This advert has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet responsibly, only for persons 18 years and above. Gaming can be addictive.
Week 15 of the Ghana Premier League promises more action on Star Times as Adriana Stars welcome Bichem United to Doma on Friday, the 15th of December. Kickoff is at 3 p.m. Can New Boys Nations FC account for another giant scalp in the name of Mighty Hearts of Oak? This Saturday, Abraham Kese will answer the big question at 3 p.m. live on Star Times. Great Olympics will attempt to beat Asante Kotoko at the Bapayara Sports Stadium on Sunday, the 17th of December. Another potential cracker is in store for football fans in the Garden City. Kickoff is at 3 p.m. On Monday, Accra Lions versus Nswatreman will wrap up our GPL Week 15 round of fixtures. Also showing on Max TV. Kickoff is at 3 p.m. This is the Ghana Premier League, proudly brought to you by SoccerBet, Medimafo Herbal Clinic, and High Sense. Star Times, enjoy digital life. GPL headquarters. Ivory Coast 2023 AFCON. The big countdown is on. AFCON 2023.
All right, welcome back. 29 days to go, just around the corner. Wow, unbelievable. And that's why the discussion was, trying to meander around it. And we're still talking about the football ecosystem. We've been joined by William Barker. He's the CEO of Kempong Academy, and talking about the African football landscape. All these people, football agents and coaches, will be in Ivory Coast to see what the football system is at the moment. You're welcome. Akwaba, I'm sure you've got a few words in tree that you can help us with. But first of all, tell us about your background and what you do. Tell us about your football background and then what you're doing here in Ghana.
Well, I've played football all my life. I was born in London, but moved to Los Angeles when I was young. So I kind of grew up playing football there. And then when I was younger, I went to Madrid and played a bit there, and then played in Poland, like low pro level. And now I'm focusing on developing talent and the business side of football, which is really...
You've decided you don't want to get into the big game and rather focus on the administration?
Yeah, more on the business side. I mean, I love like watching players and yeah, stuff like that. So that's why, and I came to Ghana and I met Kennedy, and he's been, and now I'm working at the Kampong Football Academy, and it's really great, and it's an exciting project.
Yeah, tell us more about that and how how have you fitted in? What have you seen, and maybe the comparisons to some of the places you've been already?
Yeah, well, it's a lot to adapt to. Living in Ghana is definitely different than anywhere I've been before, but it's an amazing country. Very warm, nice people. And one of the reasons I'm so happy to be here, and it's such a great opportunity, is just the level of the players, especially at our academy. It is unbelievable what they can do at such young ages. European academies are, the same level. They're on the same level as the European academies, and ready to compete with the best.
That's quite interesting. Someone who's played at school level and all the rest, Europe and America, what is the difference? What makes the Ghanaian players, a little bit more talented, or maybe if you want to compare head to head, what advantages would the Ghanaian players have? And why is it that we're not having more going through at a young age like the Brazilians? It's part of their economy. They ship players out on a regular basis.
Yeah. Well, I think head to head, between like an American or a European player, the physicality of the Ghanaians, and they have some very nice kind of passing plays, and they just understand the game very well. And I think that there's less of a culture of bringing players into Europe, and it's kind of like it's a hidden it's hidden, like it's not something that has been going on for as long as the Brazilian and South American side has,
And with the Ghana Premier League, when you have time and you monitor, what would you make of the Ghana Premier League, as in getting players straight from maybe another league to Europe, or from the Ghana Premier League to Europe? What is the problem? What do we need to do to get more of our players going out straight, rather than having to go around and going through the channels before they can end up in Europe?
I don't know the exact problems, obviously, but I see the Ghana Premier League, and it's a top level, and I think it's just a matter of time. And as the league gets more recognition, there will be more and more players going straight to Europe. So, yeah.
If you were given recommendations, look, you get a call up, Hearts, Kotoko, Midiama, Ashgo, Dreams, these teams. Would there be players who are ready to go straight away, or you still think they need to go through other places, maybe North Africa, lower leagues in Europe? Some go to Cyprus, Macedonia, Liechtenstein, Moldova, some are even going to Iraq.
Right.
Before they are channeled through. So how is the academy going to help? Or the juvenile game, for example, at the Kampong Academy, how are you going to prepare players? Yeah,
well, our main focus is developing these players in Europe as soon as possible. Because a lot of times they get to Europe and they're a little bit behind. So we're developing partnerships and planning to right when they're 18, right when they're ready, you get them in a pro level team, either in Europe or start in Africa and then get over to Europe directly and have other academies develop them in the European style.
Yeah, sure. We'll take a look at some of the stuff you're doing there and how you found it. But in terms of conditions, what are conditions like for these young boys at the academy?
Oh, well, the facilities are fantastic. Kennedy has invested heavily in the facilities, and the players are living a very, very good lives and focusing on their football and improving a lot. And it's really amazing to see.
What about education and the age groups, for example? How do they go about their daily routine?
Yeah, well, they train in the mornings for the 14 to 17-year-olds, and the 11 to 14-year-olds train in the afternoons after they've gone to a school. There we have, they go to public schools all around Winneba. And then the older 14 to 17-year-old players, they go to they do schooling at our academy, and they are taught a lot of classes, English, French, and we're starting with history and geography and stuff like that, and also tactical education, which is very important for these young players.
Right. I can see some of them there. These are the under 18s, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And a couple of them coming from outside Ghana. That's a new thing.
Yeah, that's true. One of the kids there is actually from America. He came to do a trial. I mean, when an academy is good, people want to come from all around the world, and I mean, this is a great place for players to develop and become professionals.
Awesome. Yeah, the African Cup of Nations just around the corner, Ivory Coast. I'm not sure if you plan to be there, and if you do, or if you even don't, how do you see the landscape, African football? The North Africans seem to be on a different level, you know, infrastructure, players, management, everything seems to be different. West Africa is strong, but lagging a bit behind. The East and Southern Africans have now closed the gap. So,
yeah, that's true.
You know, the ecosystem, how do you see it shaping up in the next 2 to 5 years, maybe?
Well, I honestly just see a stronger Africa and all around. And I mean, for some, you know, generations of players, North or South Africa might be ahead, and then West Africa will come back. And I mean, football is growing rapidly all around the world, and it's going to be competitive for the rest of our lives, you know? I mean, we really can't say which is going to have the best generation of talent, because everyone's investing in football, and everybody wants to have the best countries.
Awesome. Excellent. William Barker, that's the young man, you know, just from university, joining the Kempton Academy as a CEO, and he's adapting to Ghana. We'll bring him back another time, but let's confirm the fixtures for this weekend, and then we'll activate the phone line so you guys can also join in the discussion. These are big matches. I mean, I wonder if you would have time to go and watch any of these matches with your busy schedule.
Yeah, I hope so.
Have you adopted any of the Ghanaian teams as one of your favorites yet?
Well, I like Chelsea. I'm a Chelsea fan. So,
because of Chelsea, Brecum Chelsea. Yeah.
So, but I haven't decided on the teams to support completely.
Yeah, you need to make your way to Brecum one of these days. I'm sure Kofi Jantwa would host you very well in that one. But of course, Adriana leading the pack, and if you had the chance to watch Hearts versus Kotoko, you would have thoroughly loved that. But let's go to the phone lines. We've got a few minutes yet. Josiah is here with me, 055-846-2088. Jenna from Pokwasi, good evening. Ejazane. Boko. Yo, Kamadri, it's you.
Jamaican near Kotoko. Miss Kotoko for say, since I bought March, you know, me because Kotoko must me in your house. Man, kill you, after I'm a house, I bet I need you. Me catch you next time, Muna Hasa, Momunia Jaumu, Sakan Krana, Omunche, and I will tell them to the Edward is your blaster and the American.
Yo, you made that right. I mean, Josiah, Kotoko fans are saying they should have killed Hearts when they had the chance. When it was 3-1, they had about 3 chances.
Yeah.
But hey, you can't get Hearts that cheaply.
No. You know, it's always cagey when these two sides meet. But then the last time there was a heavy scoreline, I think Kotoko were at the receiving end of it. It was that 4-0 and they still have it. You know, sometimes you'd say it traumatizes them a bit and they feel like, you know, when we get a chance, we need to, you know, reciprocate it. And they felt, Sunday was the best chance for them in a long while for them to have put in a lot, you know, trash them, but then they couldn't. It's football.
Okay. Christopher from Pong Katamansu is on the line. Christopher, good evening. Ed is saying, let's hear from you.
Pacho, Naminadum, Pacho, yeah, goalkeepers now more, yeah, Premier Leagues no. Goalkeepers no, Omunya Adia Baku Kra.
Oh, are they?
Me a former goalkeeper. Yeah, Yachi Aroras in Suda.
I see.
But yeah, that time yeah, bought justify us under 20 no. Now our goalkeepers be say James Nano, Dida, Samuel
Right.
Uko Koto Konsua, now Michael Abu, any Abukari Kenkeni no.
Okay, all time. Oh.
Yes.
So Auroras, they're a junior team of Hearts, baby team.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And our Chimomo.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait to me and Chama.
We voted them.
Okay, for them.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, senior, you go keep us now. They say about Premier League, you know. Almost name straight diving.
Okay.
And almost near physical. I'm not goalkeepers no. Almost chino. I have the deal. House goalkeeper win. Sabol ya second goal with the share no. Yeah, time no. Sabol no. And I chi. And the Jiska.
Oh, I see.
Showball.
Show ball.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I say Ada. As a goalkeeper, she said, "Why can see Afa? Diving."
Oh yeah, big boy. Or diving mo? Oh yeah, or Chima Hearts.
Well, say woman sir, say a ball no be star. So who star if you see who star, who ni manager, who tenchen.
Okay. Okay.
So.
All right.
Your goalkeepers mean I'm body ball and so I'm dive ya no show from as a goalkeeper and film na Udiani.
Yeah.
So on maybe James Nana na did I no be say say akwado no mo friend play ni be mo Tony Tomo.
Mini Pele Bemo.
Tony Tomo.
Tony Tomo. All right.
Yes.
So yeah, that's it. We're seeing Atta and Richmond there on the screen. Atta is a big boy. I mean, yes. Josiah, you want to make a comment on that?
Naturally, he's a heavy guy. Naturally, but then
so diving will be difficult.
No, yeah, sometimes per the law of physics, that's why you need to be athletic. At least to have some good reflexes. Most of the best goalkeepers are a bit skinny as compared to him, so maybe he needs to work a bit. He's still a good goalkeeper. He's a fine goalkeeper. Maybe he'll come good.
Okay, Maxwell Ofori is on the line. Hello, Max. Good evening.
Evening. Never say me share my ideas of program now.
Yo, it's
Never show. The last time I'm with a program, no, overshare me free. I can't be before I got to go. Say Mukwala no, or you player, I am not pepist, place the ball now. No, the Mikako Fabon. It's our ball now. They cross fast through. No, who's the name of Mukwala? I feel the ball two from now. You're board of parent. Who's the goals now start ever? Nti kotokono se mu ye kotokono coaches ni ba e ya o si enya botre mo sa ne mani nyina mo ba no se striker ba ko no ye fe say e do fees striker ye to ni fi be chemu se fa ono say air boss o ya no pe ball no say ye be put ball na pa wie no apem be mu kwala no pe ball ye de beto from ono nyaw na so ball no to ne yanko fa obekwaja
right
so
yeah over pace and
kotokono.
All right. Yo, Medasi, thank you very much. Right. Okay. Yeah, I mean, William, don't be lost. The players are basically on about the Hearts Kotoko game, which obviously Kotoko won, and they're very happy. That's the biggest game. Once upon a time, Liverpool-Manchester United was the biggest game in the EPL. I don't know if it still is.
Yeah.
Not Manchester City.
No, viewership-wise, it still is.
Right. It's huge, yeah.
It's huge.
So it's equivalent to that. To, two sides coming from different parts of England when they meet. It's the same with Hearts and Kotoko. Still time for a couple of calls. Yeah, but the issue of Mukwala, you agree?
Yeah. I think it's a good point he made over there. I think all these strikers have their strengths, so you need to play to the strength of the striker. You don't cross balls for Mukwala, who is not so good in the air. Yeah.
Okay, Kwame Usu on the line. Where you call him? Kaswa. Kwame, I think you're one of our last callers. Let's hear from you.
Calling from Kaswa New Market.
Yeah, we're listening to you, Kwame.
Okay, they are talking. People are talking. Hello.
Kwame, we're listening to you.
People are talking about a test size and a stomach.
Nobody
But
talked about his stomach.
nowadays, I'm over 70 years. In the days of Duru Lante, and Duru Lante was big and huge like that, but he was performing. It didn't matter how big he was.
Okay. Nobody
You
talked
get
about
me?
his stomach, but you're the one who brought it up. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
big.
I'm saying Duru Lante was thick and bigger than
Richard Atta. How are we talking of 1970s or 80s?
Yes, the 70s.
Boss, the game has changed though. 1970s.
And I'm saying Duru Lante was bigger and fatter than this guy, and he was performing. He could dive and do everything in the post.
But now they will not allow that.
Yeah, even though I'm not happy with his size, and but I just want to say that this is not the first time. In the 70s, Duru Lante was thicker and bigger than Atta.
Okay.
But he was still performing.
All right. Atta should work hard. He always watches the program. I'm sure he'll take it in good faith. Unfortunately, our time is up though, and William Barker. Unfortunately, our time is up. But big thank you to the CEO of Kempton Academy, and of course Josiah Okokwe, our commentator extraordinaire. I'm sure this weekend he'll be in action as well. Lots of good matches coming up this weekend. A lot of action in Kumasi. We'll bring you all of that as well. The fixtures on the screen, you would realize that there is no such thing as an easy game. And your guess is as good as mine. You might be surprised. The predictions that you have might change when we have the results. All right, that's it. Our time is up. Once again, thanks to you for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye for now.